Welcome back to another Get Good at Business Spotlight. I am your host, Taylor Proctor, your business coach here to help you get good at business so you can get back into the heart of why you got into business in the first place. And the way that we do that is through the I Move method, which stands for intuition, marketing, operations, velocity, and execution. And today I am joined by an amazing, badass business owner, Ariel Faith. Thank you so much for joining me today, Ariel.
You are very welcome. Thank you for having me here.
So Ariel is a creative author, award-winning photographer, and mother of four. She owned a successful custom home design biz for over 25 years, and she is 5 years into a career shift. Her love of nature has steered her to fine artwork. Then, seeing a need, she started Creative Warriors podcast for women photographers and others. And last year, she niched down to personality portraits. So what she does is help women business owners go from doubt to boldly beautiful through personal brand photography, and specializes in personality portraits, building confidence through fun and collaborative experiences. Knowing that brand photography visually communicates your brand message with strategically created shots. So, Ariel, so amazing. And one of the things that we love to do here on the show is interview business owners from several different backgrounds with different types, different industries, because part of getting good at business is learning and seeing what's working for other people, what's not working for other people, and really kind of diving into that and seeing what we can apply for ourselves. So before we get into how you work within the areas of the I Move method, though, I would love to know your story, your background when it comes from running a successful home design business for 25 years to that shift that is now on that personal and brand photography space.
So, what inspired me to do that was in the creative field with home design. When on my end, I have very little control over what the end product is. So, out of as a creative, that's a super frustrating process.
Yeah.
You design this, especially in my niche, because I was in traditional homes. So they were very detailed, very specific. And then it would get in the hands of a contractor and it would turn into a less than version of what I had designed. And it year after year after year, that got very frustrating and less fulfilling. A few people would obviously hit the target, but in my experience, literally it was very little. And that's pretty, I mean, that's our problem in our niche, right? So when I got into the photography, it fed my heart. Just nature photography. It really fed my heart. And that was I did a lot of that during COVID. Part of the book that I authored, I needed the photography that's kind of where I started. I got a big girl camera. That was back then. But that was for residential design book. So the transition kind of was a slow one, but it was interesting. I was interviewing on my podcast, I was interviewing a woman who did personal brand photography. And honestly, I had never even heard of it. I mean, I knew obviously celebrities had shoots, and I knew, obviously I knew glamour shots, and, I mean, I know big wigs get their photos taken, but I never thought about the small business homeowner who needs it too. The social
Right.
media strategist, the coach, I never really thought about that as a potential area of service. And I had always kind of been an anti-people photographer because I didn't want to do weddings,
Mm.
right? I didn't want to do the family shot, with the little kids. I've had my family, they're all grown. I just didn't want to go that direction. I didn't think my energy would be good there. So when I heard about helping women business owners, especially older ones who are struggling with all the things you struggle with over 40, you look in the mirror, you start not seeing yourself. You're like, who the heck are you? Go away. You get, your body starts doing things you don't like. So all of those issues, it gets harder and harder to be in front of a camera. So helping a woman who needs to be visible to really get her marketing just on par, helping her feel confident behind the camera, have fun, because I'm all about fun on the day of the photo shoot.
For sure.
Um, just because to me, that's the only way to get you to come out. I mean, sometimes it's a little harder to pull different people out, but to have fun and just enjoy it and just really think of it as a, a day where I'm walking around with the camera with you. That makes the experience so much more rich, and I get you in the photographs, which is my key. So that was so much more fulfilling as a woman than all the other work I've done. So to be able to take something that I have a great deal of passion about, which is helping other women, um, and turn it into a service that I could offer, that was just a win-win for me.
And a creative service that you had control of the final outcome. You were taking the
Yes.
picture and seeing the final.
Well, I have control, but I also, it's collaborative,
Right.
right? So if I don't give you the images that you need as a business owner, or your marketing is the, the point of your marketing, then I didn't succeed. So it is a collaborative effort, very much so.
Yeah.
Um, so my end result, yes, I have much more control over, but it's more fun because it's not just about me, if
Right.
that makes any sense.
Oh, it totally does. I love that. Well, thank you for sharing that journey and that background. And as I hear those types of things and we move into I Move, it sounds like the I of I Move, intuition, played a part in the guiding you to where you're at now and following that fun and that fulfillment. But I also wonder if you use it in your shoots themselves where you're like, oh, what if we tried this? And that's like an intuitive hit. So let me ask you this. Uh, how do you tap into your intuition when you're capturing the personality portraits of your clients?
Intuition, I think, is a huge piece, and I have a skill to hear and listen, even things that aren't spoken.
Mhm.
It's in residential design, you have to learn how to do that. You got a husband and wife in a room, and he one of them, I won't say which one, is being more dominant in the design, and you can hear the other one throwing out a few wants and needs, and the other, the more stronger personality will kind of push them down. Well, my
Mhm.
goal always was to give them both what they needed and wanted in a surprising way, right? That was my goal. So I learned how to read people through that process. So with photography, when I do the consultation call or discovery call, whatever you want to call it in today's world, and then when we have the planning session, I really try really hard to understand the person I'm going to take photos of.
Mhm.
So I want to know the fears and the things that are going to make you comfortable, to make the experience best, the places, the even the clothes that you feel more comfortable in versus not. All of those things. I do a lot of planning work ahead of time to get the vibe that they're looking for. So on the day of the photo shoot, the intuition comes in. One, I'm listening all that way. So I'm reading the people, which to me is a huge piece of intuition.
Mhm.
And then on the day of the photo shoot, I have to help them be comfortable. And it takes a while. Sometimes, everybody's a little different. Some are right on board. I mean, within minutes I can get them relaxed and fun, and the whole day is great. Other people, there's a shift, and it might take a while for me to get them to relax and be comfortable because they're all stiff and, and they're just not used to being on that end of the camera, and they're uncomfortable with it, which is fine, but my job is to get them comfortable. So there's a process. And it's reading, again, it's that intuition, knowing not to push someone too far, knowing when they're physically being uncomfortable, being able to read that is very, very important. So I think it's an intrinsic part of what I do, actually, because if I don't do that, you end up with shots that aren't really very nice and nobody wants them.
Right.
And that's no good.
Now, especially when you're doing it for your branding, right? So
Yeah, exactly.
I think that's an amazing, amazing application of intuition in your specific field. Like that is so incredible. So let's move to the M of marketing. What start strategies have you found to be effective for reaching and connecting with your target audience to have these brand and personality photo shoots?
Well, marketing is not my strong suit. I'm not going to lie, because in the other business in the design world, marketing was word of mouth, 100%, 25 years. Um, so I didn't really have to market. So with this business, I've had to learn what marketing is, even what branding is. I had to learn all that. I had to figure out different strategies. So for me right now, I'm focusing mostly on in-person and then online networks. That's because finding women business owners is a little challenging all by itself. But I am also looking for the business owner who understands the value of branding. And
Yeah,
that's a smaller portion, right? So the in-person networking is very key to my world. I have some different things working right now, different people with a little more um I don't know how to politely say that, but they just understand the value of the good images versus the
those who may
selfies with
not.
the terrible masks and filters and now you look like Barbie gone
Yeah.
bad.
Well, and I would imagine too that localized networking as part of your marketing makes a lot of sense for photo shoots coming into your studio or going out and taking those. Like it is a very physical thing versus mass marketing online. And so I love that like the marketing for your business is for your business. I feel like many entrepreneurs when they first start out think they've got to be everywhere and do all the things. And it's like, no, get really good and know where your audience is and meet them there.
And I think when people meet you anyway, whether it's online or whether it's that face-to-face contact, whether it's it's just so different. You know, it's just such a different experience when you get to know a person. You either have this, you share it or you don't, and that's okay either way, right?
Yeah,
But you hire people that you connect with. That's just how it works. So I think that's just very important in our business to meet people.
totally agree. So you're going out, you're meeting people, you're having these photo shoots. There's a lot that pertains to business operationally outside of even just the photo shoot, right? You're doing editing, you're doing, all of these other pieces. So I'd love to ask for the O of our iMove methodology here. What systems and processes have you implemented for operational support for your business?
Well, I definitely have the standards. So I use Calendly for your scheduling app, and then some of the more automated, making sure people remember the appointment, including me. Um, and then I have the client resource management. So that has multiple levels. It's specific to photography. So it has your obviously your shoot appointments, but it has a series of workflow that you can work through so I don't forget things, and then the client has access to the gallery through that and a whole bunch of other things. So I use to me that's super helpful. And then of course there's I use Planoly for social media planning. um I try to find things that streamline, and as you know, things are constantly changing.
Yep.
So, your website might now add this, and now I don't need that. But anyway, so it's a constant shift. But those are to me key, is having a plan for social media, having a way to get to multiple, your TikTok, your multiple, whatever ones you're putting your information out on, LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, all that. Having one place that you can shoot them all out at is the
Yep.
best, because then you're not spending so much time. You're so exhausted. Now you have no time to actually work. So, um,
Right.
all of the streamlining stuff, I'm all about it.
Yeah, super important because especially as you're growing and you're in the creative work, getting bogged down by trying to do all the tasks in the minutia when it could be streamlined through a systemized process is a game changer.
Yeah, it is a game changer. And I really do see the value. I'm not in a place at the moment, but I will be there. I need to add a VA.
Mm,
Just because I see that I'm spending too much time on things that it's not my strong suit. So that means I don't have as much time for the things that are my strong suit. So there's a pull, right?
mhm.
So when you share the love and you give the jobs that you're not as good at to somebody who is, then you both thrive. And to me, that makes a whole lot of sense. So
Absolutely.
that's a
So
part of my that I need to add.
well, you know what? We all can work on better delegation in one way or another. So let's move to our V, which is strategies for velocity. What tactics are you currently employing to not only maintain your momentum, but drive growth for your business?
So driving growth is always an interesting thing because you throw all these things out into a net, right? And you hope you catch a bunch of stuff. But there obviously there's more successful ways, right? But there's a lot of things that you have to do despite your fears. I'm really an introvert, like core. So when I have to do networking, when I have to do a presentation, I get so exhausted on the other side of that, but I have to plan those things. And a lot of times I have to say, do it anyway.
Mm.
I just have to just grab myself by the neck and yank. Not strangle, but just pull.
Just
Um,
a leash.
yeah, not a noose. So, and for me, that's what drives the whole thing is the fact that, people say, what is your why, right? Your why is your motivation. And that's what keeps most of us motivated, whatever that why is. For me, it's not money. It's really not money. It's helping people.
Mhm.
And seeing a woman, um, there's a switch that happens, and seeing a woman going from fear and that uncomfortable place to really start to enjoy and feel like the model and feel like the queen when they're on set or whatever is such an incredible experience to experience. And then there's a neat thing that happens after. They're on social media more. They're
Mhm.
starting to do more lives. So the effect isn't just the photo shoot or the images I give them. Their visibility changes, their ability, their confidence level to be more present and interactive with their own audience, it increases. It's really great. Even people I've just had consultation calls that didn't book with me, I've watched them grow based on that information I gave them during that call that gave them a direction, that they can improve. So it's really, really cool. So that is really what keeps the gas going.
Mhm. Oh, that's so amazing. And I love that call out too, because when we talk about strategies for velocity, it can be so broad and we ask it that way on purpose, right? But even it is a strategy to say, okay, what is my why? How can I maintain this momentum to keep on going forward? Like, what is the motivation here? I think that's such a huge takeaway towards the mindset piece of those strategies for velocity. So I love that. Thank you for sharing.
You're welcome.
So let's wrap up our I move methodology here with one of the most important ones, because we can talk about all this all day long, but execution is where it is at. So I would love to know, what are the steps that you're taking to execute on expanding your services, or what is the next big project or initiative that you're working on?
One of the big things that I have personally done and am in the middle of is last year I had a few mentors. This year I hired a big one that's basically taking me through the whole year. So having somebody who has walked the walk, who has succeeded, can show you the path, your weaknesses and your strengths and help you get there, but over a course of a year, to me that's going to be a game changer for my business. But the other thing that is really cool, and I can't wait to actually be able to fully implement, I'm behind the scenes doing a lot of work. But a lot of people, I mean, branding shoots aren't the cheapest thing in the world, let's be honest, right? So it's an investment. People who understand the value of it get that in a half a day I can get a year's worth of content. So in the end, it's a great thing to do, but it's still a little bit, costly initially. So a lot of people can't do that, but they
Mhm.
need a little bit better presence. So I have a couple things working where they're sessions that are more shared. So it's a group that come in and um I have two in particular that are you can come in at a lower price point, which then I can help more people. And
Got it.
and some of them are more like a shared luxury experience where you rent like an Airbnb and you with four women and you all have the photo shoot during the whole day and you experience it together. And I've seen really neat things happen through that. The people who have, the business owners all end up being great friends by the end of the
course.
day, and they help each other in business. I'll share contact, so it ends up being a really cool thing. So that's something that I hope to fully get going for next year. It takes a while to get that one in the process, but it's really just some of adding those extra pieces to my offerings. I think is going to be really cool. And then of course you have like the branding days or refresher days where you come in and it's a half an hour and there's just a series of people that come in together, but it allows more people to have better content. So than the selfie or the JCPenney share. Because I'm all about,
Kitty candids.
there's a headshot and then there's a personality shot, right? And I find that the more people use personality in their all forms of marketing, the more they draw people
Absolutely.
versus that sterile, whatever.
Mhm. Well, I think that's so amazing, and I love those takes, right? Those little bit different ways to show up for your audience and give them what they need. So how can our audience learn more about you?
So you can go to my website. It is arielfaith.com. I made it pretty simple.
Mhm.
And you can check out some things. There's a free download guide on visual styling, storytelling mastery, essentials, unveiling 6 essential brand photo styles. So for all
Nice.
people, whether you're doing it yourself or you're hiring someone, gives you some more variety to add to your shoot. So that's available for you. And just check me out. And if you're in my area, and if you're not, I do travel. Just saying.
So tell us your area. Where are you located?
Oh, so I'm in just north of Central Florida. So I'm near Daytona Beach, New Smyrna Beach. I'm in West Volusia, which, if you're in Florida, you know that. But that's my local area. And then some of the future things are going to be in different places because that just makes it more fun.
Beautiful. So cool. Well, Ariel, thank you so much for joining us today, for being so real and candid about your business, what you're doing in it, and within the areas of iMove. And I know already I'm like, branding photography is a thing. Maybe that's something you want to look into. If that is the case, you can go to, for those who are watching, you can go to arielfaith.com or check out her link in our description of this video. So Ariel, again, thank you so much for joining us today. And for those of you watching, be sure to stay tuned. We have more Get Good at Business highlights, spotlights coming up with incredible business owners. So you'll want to keep in touch and subscribe, all those good things so you don't miss a single one. But in the meantime, we will see you next time. And remember, you can get good at business.